Hello, beautiful people. We have the gorgeous uh, Miss PDina. Am I saying it correctly? Because I get a lot of flack for saying Dina,
Yeah.
because and it is Dina.
Dinah, Dina, it doesn't matter. Dinah. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very, very much for joining me and joining us on the platform. I love your hair, by the way. I love that. I love that hairstyle. I love it.
Thank you.
You're looking good too.
So do you.
So I'm very happy that you're here. I Oh, we already have a few people watching. Catherine says hi. So I wanted to talk to you because we haven't chatted in a while, well, in public. And I'd like to know what's going on over there, the news about everything that you guys have heard lately. For example, Megan at the Oscars and the scandals with Spotify, that Spotify now regrets having hire them or sign a contract with them. And the same thing goes for Netflix. Also, about the Queen's announcement, all the issues between Prince William and Prince Charles. I mean, we have loads of stuff to talk about. And I actually just found out that, there's something called the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, right?
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan were vice president and, sorry, hello. And they were vice president of that, right?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, it turns out, what I just found out, that that Harry right now is the chimpo for Better Up.
Yeah, right.
It turns out that apparently all the executives from Commonwealth, the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, have a contract with Better Up, and they're using the app.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So this is the thing, and guess who's paying for it? Because that app is not cheap. It starts, I think, at $500 or something like that, the basic. Because then you can go up to 2,000 depending on the kind of membership you have. But I think that the basic membership is $599, and they have it, and it's the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, and it's being paid for by the Queen's Commonwealth Trust.
I just don't understand how they are supporting his initiatives, knowing that he is doing everything he can to destroy them, like with this book coming out. How can you justify supporting that? Does that make sense?
Well, they're supporting him, and this is the problem that I have, because it's like, for example, and I know this is gonna, and for our viewers, I know I'm gonna be very simplistic about this. It's like, for example, it's like nobody wants to get in a fight between family members because they don't know if at the end of the day they're gonna reconcile, and then you're gonna be the jerk who talk bad about the family member. That's exactly the same thing that people feel towards Harry and his family. They don't really want to cast them out completely, just in case they reconcile, and then they don't want to be the bad guys, or they don't want to be in the out.
I don't know if that's
the vibe I get, because you see, if Queen's Commonwealth Trust, this is the Queen's big thing,
right?
Is supporting Better Up. And that idiot babbling about trying to tell us how to breathe or meditate, and he takes 40 minutes of his time between nannies and staff members. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think all the things that he says can't be taken seriously because he is someone that doesn't even follow his own advice. I've talked about this on my channel where he wants us to do all these things to show we are taking care of our inner self and our mental health, but he doesn't care about the mental health and stresses that he is putting on his family members. He doesn't do the things that he tells other people to do, like taking your negatives that you have in your life and trying to turn them into positives. Like, why has he still not met with Megan's dad? Why has he not shown that he's made mistakes himself by acknowledging his own mistakes and saying that he could have been better? That's the only way you start to become better, is when you acknowledge how your own shortcomings. And Meghan and Harry have never ever acknowledged their own mistakes or where they have made poor choices, you know? So I just don't see how I think it's going to take a long road to forgiveness for Harry in general. Like, they should not be so quick to welcome him back with all the nonsense. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I don't care if Charles, okay, as a family member, Charles has every right to make up with his son.
True, yeah.
As a family member. The issue I have is that Harry went very publicly and lied and slandered the monarchy to cause harm, and he has not been held accountable for that. And instead, he's being compensated. He's been rewarded to continue doing that because, listen, PDina, you know that if your son comes and breaks or crashes the car, and instead of you grounding him or taking the car away, you go buy him a new car and say, here you go, honey, take another car. What message are you giving your son?
Yeah, they don't have to take responsibility for their actions. I mean, that's the whole point. He has to take responsibility. And if you're not going to, smack down that bad behavior and just reward bad behavior, they're going to always do it. So what's the purpose of reconciliation if they know there's not going to be a backlash? It makes no sense.
Well, that's the thing that I was thinking. That's the thing that I was thinking, because I didn't want to believe that was the case, but actually they are. And it's being financed by the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, because it's not even given to them. So they're financially assisting Harry, because we don't know if Harry gets a percentage per revenue.
Yeah, that's true. He probably does. I'm sure he does. I mean, I am sickened at how they are handling all of this. We know, well, did you know that he also got upset with William about the whole Camilla thing? Saying that it's okay that she becomes queen consort. Like, he is upset about that. Did you read that or hear about it?
What about that?
About him, the news that just came out about William giving his.
Oh, yeah, he's absolutely furious. William is absolutely furious. I mean, and I am absolutely completely shocked about how the press is saying, oh, Queen Consort Camilla, she's very much loved. And I actually did a video, and I'm going to say it here now that we have this live so people can know. Yesterday, the police came to my house. I was actually talking to Bookworm. I was talking to Bookworm too, when she's from South Africa, but we talk pretty much very regularly. And I got the police come to my house that my account had been reported for hate speech and not as much as hate speech, but inciting to violence and defamation. So when I saw the police, I thought, what the hell's going on here? It didn't even occur to me that it had anything to do with my YouTube channel, So I said to them, they were here for about 2 hours. They sat and they went through the entire channel. And guess which video they were coming here about? About the video I did about Prince Charles disqualifying himself from the throne by marrying Camilla in a civil ceremony.
Are you serious?
No. I wanted to take pictures. I wanted to show it to you guys, And I was like, I started laughing. If they had not been dressed as policemen and if they hadn't come with the police car, I would have thought it was a joke. But it wasn't. So I sat down with them and I said, listen, and I showed them the laws. I showed them the thing. I showed them everything. And I said, if I am not reporting a lie, I'm actually reading out from the law. It says here that the 1836 Marriage Act was repealed by the 1949 Marriage Act, except sections 3, 17, and 45, which were incorporated as such and as valid in the 1949 Marriage Act. And in fact, if you go to section 79.5, and I sent you that, it says that the laws in regards to the royal marriages remains the same as stated previously. So I said, I'm not saying anything because there's two things that royals have to do. This is why Meghan, do you remember when Meghan and Oprah said, oh, we had to do that spectacle?
About the wedding.
And the reason for that, there's two things that are, they're non-negotiable. Is the Queen's consent for the first 6 in line to the throne in the succession, and church marriage. And the reason for that is because whoever's going to be the monarch has to be in communion with the church and represents the Church of England. Charles is not in communion, and Camilla, and there was a meeting in 2002 because Charles was desperate to be married to Camilla in church, her wearing white like Meghan. So he was determined. So the church got together, the archbishop and the senior people from the church, and you can Google this document. It's out on the internet. You will find it, because there's 5 reasons that they can allow divorced people to marry if they meet, but then if they don't meet any of those 5 reasons, they're done. And it was determined because, and I asked why. I called the church and I asked the reason why they said that they determined that if Charles wanted to marry Camilla, he can marry anybody else, but not Camilla by the Church of England. This is why the Queen was so upset, because the Queen didn't want to bend the rules. The Queen said, okay, we managed to get divorced people to marry, but the church, the clergy said, we can't, because Charles is a confessed adulterer. And one of the 5 things is that you cannot be married in church if your affair is the direct
result of
your if your marriage breaks down due to that affair, which is what happened to Camilla and her husband. The reason why they didn't, because I was saying, how about Charles? Yeah, but the reason why they don't mention him is because Princess Diana was already dead, so he was considered a widower, whereas Camilla's husband still alive. And in the eyes of the Catholic Church, they're still married because they haven't annulled the marriage.
She hasn't annulled the marriage with her first husband?
Yeah, no.
Well, why?
It takes years, Pat. It takes years to. I mean, it's not something, Pope, can you know me? Princess Caroline, of Monaco. It took her, I think, 20 or 24 years to annul the marriage of her first husband. And because they were married in the Catholic Church. And unfortunately, her husband had died. He died in that tragic boat accident. But she still wanted it done because, she wanted it done. So, but no, but I am, so the police was here. They started laughing at it because they thought, apparently from whoever complained, they thought that I don't know, I was asking for explosives or whatever. So I said to them, I gave him my password. I was freaking out. I gave him my password, I said, you can look up whatever. You can see I don't have any hidden videos or anything. You can look it up anywhere you want. And then they started laughing, and they apologized, and then they left, and, they just told me that there were a bunch of sickos out there. Yeah.
So wait a minute, but people probably complain all the time about people doing hate speech, and it's not hate speech. How was it that this guy looked at to be legitimate, that they actually came to your home?
Apparently there were quite a few complaints. I don't know who, because you can report an account, and here they take it very seriously. Okay. It's inciting to violence. That's what they said. That through my YouTube, I was inciting violence and defaming a public figure.
Wow.
So I showed them everything, and I said I can actually, and they read the video, they saw the videos, and they said, well, truth is the best defense against defamation, because I wasn't defaming anybody. I'm just repeating what is actually the public law, which is an act. This is one of the things in 2005 that Parliament said you would need to write at least a bill for him to marry, and they didn't do it.
So I think what happened, I think people just want to see, well, I'm sure that they know that they have to amend something to make this happen for him to succeed the throne, right? I mean, they're not idiots. They know what the church has said, but do you think perhaps Charles is not?
The thing is that the church has already ruled on that they will never marry Camilla. At least, Camilla and Prince Charles can marry. This is another thing that people are confused. Charles Mountbatten Windsor can marry Camilla Parker Bowles whichever way he wants as a private citizen. But as a senior royal, there are requirements that need to be met, just like Meghan Markle and Harry with the children that they have in the testament, the doctors. And I'll ask you your opinion on this, because I'm sure you get emails too, like I do. They were saying, so what if Meghan Markle hires surrogates to have children, and as long as it's her DNA? And you know what? I agree with that. If it's their DNA, because also a lot of people are not sure about that. The DNA is Harry's and Meghan's, because I'm pretty sure they're using their own stuff. They're just cooking it on somebody else's stove. You know what I mean? So if you do a swab for DNA, it'll be Meghan's and Harry's. Unfortunately, the child was not born out of her body. Now, if they change the rules stating that as long as they have the DNA of both the royal and then they can be in the line of succession, that would be a different thing. But the rules will have to be amended. As they stand now, they're very specific that they say that the child must be born out of the body of the person.
Yeah.
If the laws were to change and they would put, instead of being born out of the body of the person, and if they put that as long as there is the DNA from both parents, then that's different. But that would still mean that Meghan Markle would have lied, and Harry, and they're guilty of a crime for lying if they use surrogates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the time that the children were born, that was law. And I sent that to this lady who's a complete fan of Meghan Markle, But I don't know. What do you think?
I think that it's okay to have a surrogate. Yeah, the issue is lying. The issue is not being honest. And if she did break a law, which it seems like she has, if she's used a surrogate, we don't know for sure, but if she did, then she needs to atone for that. She has to say something. She has to turn in the certificate of birth. I don't think she's even done that yet, right?
They never presented them. I've been arguing for this for a long time. And this is what people tell me, just let it go, that you hate the children. And it's like, and they're so nice. Or for example, let it go, they're happy now. And I'm like thinking, wait a minute, but that's not fair, because there are laws for a reason. And those laws have to be respected. It's not hatred towards the children.
Well, nobody hates the children, of course. I mean, I don't know how people got hating the children out of that.
Well, people tell me whenever I point out to something that's a law, people go, "Oh, you hate this person." It really has nothing to do with hating that person. It's the law, and the laws are there for a reason.
So what do you think that means, that Charles knows these laws and he
does. This is why he had the Lord Chancellor in 2005 say this, and this is another thing that people don't understand, because the Lord Chancellor, when he tried to argue the reasons why Charles should be allowed to marry in a civil ceremony when the church refused to do it, because the church flat out said, if we're not going to marry you in church, which is the requirement for any senior royal to remain in the line of succession. This is why Harry and Meghan Markle married in what Meghan called it spectacle, because it has to be done. And this is why it was such a big thing when she said that she had married 3 days prior, because it's illegal to do so in the United Kingdom without a proper legal reason, And if you go to the Marriage Act, it tells you that you can have For example, you can choose to be married in a civil ceremony, and then you can have like a blessing afterwards, but that's not a marriage. The civil
Right.
ceremony is the one that counts. If you can go under a tree and throw yourself a bunch of flowers and say, "Oh, bless me," but that's not the marriage, ceremony.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So, and it's illegal to hold two marriages. How can you marry a person twice? You can't.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what happens. And he knows that, and this is why Lord Chancellor ended up quoting the European Union 2000, the 2000 European Union Human Rights Law. Has nothing to do with that. Nobody was saying that Charles couldn't marry Camilla in a civil ceremony. What they were saying is, if you do it that way, you disqualify yourself from succeeding.
But what came from that? Nothing. Like
Nothing.
So what do you think that means? Do you think it means
this is why Canada opposed it, and the way they got around it was because they said, well, they're not going to have children because Camilla is officially branded an adulterer in the Church of England. That's what the church. You can go to the documents. Please go to the 2000 synod meeting of all that, because it's a public document, and you will find it that it says that Camilla is an adulterer, and therefore she cannot be married in the Church of England to Prince of Wales.
Wow. It says it as an official document.
If you can Google it, it's there. It's a public document. The problem is that the internet in Prince of Wales, they don't want that made public.
Okay.
So when people tell me the Church of England accepted, they gave it the blessing. No, they didn't. If they had accepted it, they would have married them in the Church of England as Prince Charles wanted. This is why the Queen was so upset. And the Queen didn't interfere because the Queen is the head of the Church of England. And she could have said, no, screw it, we're going to do this. But the Queen said, no, I'm going to respect the clergy, what they say. So
where were they married then? What was it that they were married in? What was the building?
It isn't a building. It's a marriage certificate. It's a civil ceremony in a public building.
It was a public building. Okay, yeah. I don't know. It just seems like they are just going to do. I think he's going to succeed the throne, and this is just going to get.
I don't think so.
Think?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But I don't. But what I want to talk to, I don't know if I want to talk to you about. I'm actually shocked about the Better Up thing that the Queen Commonwealth Trust is using them.
That's
and they have
very interesting.
And I just found out.
So how? I mean, so they are seriously like supporting the stuff that Harry's doing in what hopes that he doesn't say anything in his book. I mean, what's the point?
No, but isn't it incredible? I'm sure he's been financially helped by. I mean, I still, right before I went into the live with you, I just found out about it, and I'm like, and this is just something that I just found out, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come out in the news very soon. Okay. And you're going to hear them tell, oh no, it's just that it's good for them. And it's a way to, why are they still in business with Harry? Why are they assisting them? And we don't know how else. And I think this is not the Queen, because the Queen, and I don't know about you guys, I have nothing against the Queen. I adore the Queen. But let's be honest. I mean, I have my mom. My mom is 76 years old. I mean, my son, sometimes he doesn't tell me stuff to not upset me. Now, I don't tell stuff to my mom not to upset her. Do you think that the people around the Queen, they're not telling her the whole picture? And what the problem, and this is, I've seen it firsthand in my line of work. They now see the Queen as somebody, even though she's still the Queen, they're thinking of Charles, who's going to be the future. So now they want to keep Charles happy, because the Queen is just basically going along with anything, because she just wants to make sure her kids are left safe. I am pretty sure that's the thinking of the Queen. I'm going to do the best to help my kids.
Yeah.
And Charles is taking advantage of that. Andrew's taking advantage of that. Sarah Ferguson is taking advantage of that. I mean, she's 95, and people say, oh, she's still great. She's 95. Have you seen how thin she is?
She's definitely lost weight. Yeah.
So when people tell me that, oh, the Queen is sharp. No, it's not. And unfortunately, the people who work in Buckingham Palace, they are already thinking on pleasing King Charles.
Mm.
You know, because they're thinking long term.
Yeah.
We gotta kiss his ass right now, because you know.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm
But
serious.
well, how do you feel about, okay, so let's say Charles, this situation that you're saying is, okay, they know that he really can't, but they are just gonna not pay attention to this. He's going to become king. Do you think that if they were to resolve this, that he should be king, or do you think if they don't resolve it, that he should not be king? Like, does it matter one way or the other? I mean, I know you said laws are laws,
I'll
but they
tell you
could just
something. I
ignore it.
really do think that was put in that paper that the Queen said. It's the first time in 1,000 years that an outgoing monarch has had to beg or ask for what should be given for granted. And the reason for that is because Prince Charles gave his word. He swore his oath that Camilla would be princess consort. Why wasn't Prince Philip called king consort?
Well, because yeah, we know why, because, well, he
No,
was
he could have
already a
been
prince.
no, there's nothing stopping him from being called king consort.
No, yes, there is. Yes, there is. He's not there's the law. I was just reading up on this. He's not allowed. They can do it the other way around, the way with Camilla and Charles. She can become queen consort, but Philip can never become, he could never have been king consort, because the king is higher than the queen. And that would not have been allowed.
Consort, not if there's the word consort to attach to it. If he had been King Philip, then yes. But if he had been called king consort, and this is actually a conversation that I saw on GB News, you know, between Dan Wootton and some royal experts and stuff like that, you know, that it was sexist because why wasn't Prince Philip called king consort? There's actually nothing written that says that he can't. It's just tradition, because before, and you know, when when Queen Elizabeth I, men were considered more important than women. Women were considered, you know, they didn't have any rights. So, but it's just like, you know, just like the thing where it says that there used to be a written law that said that all royal births had to be witnessed by the Home Secretary. It was a law. It was written, and it was annulled in 1948, or was removed. But they removed it with the understanding that there would be royal doctors present, and that was enough. And they would post the thing, which we see the attestment, you know, that they were attesting, the doctors attesting with the doctor's signature saying, we deliver this child from the body, blah, blah, blah. And they put it out on Buckingham Palace, right? For example, the Duchess of Cambridge, it's been done with everybody. The Duchess of Cambridge, 1 hour, less than 1 hour after she gave birth, you can see the car, and you can see the car being escorted to Buckingham Palace, because they have to make sure that nobody messes with that document. So taken from the hospital to Buckingham Palace, they open it in Buckingham Palace and they put it out in that weasel that says,
isn't it interesting that Meghan's documents weren't signed by a doctor?
Nobody has seen them because Buckingham Palace was not notified. They went out in the dark, and apparently the doctor that they said that delivered Meghan Markle.
Well, they have for Archie, they do have a document, because I remember seeing that her name was Princess. Her job title was as a princess.
No, that was the birth certificate, which
that's what I'm talking about.
Which she amended. No, the birth certificate is different than what is sent when the child is born. The doctor signed that document. It's the document that you've seen it. It's signed. They put it on the weasel, and you see it with its signature.
Yeah,
that's not the birth certificate. That is the attesting of the doctor saying, so and so was born, and here are the signatures of the doctors who delivered the child. That is completely different than the birth certificate.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about, is the birth certificate that they had printed in the paper that showed her working title as princess. But I noticed on it that there was no signature from a doctor on it either. I found that interesting.
No, because the palace never got that document. So the palace put out something on the weasel saying that Meghan had been, that the child had been born at certain time and that it was a boy or something like that. I don't know, but they didn't put anything with signatures, not like the others.
That's the whole point. There was nothing, yeah, but that's the one that Cambridge's had. Theirs had signatures on it, didn't it?
Everybody.
Yeah, but hers didn't. That's what I'm saying. Hers had no signature on it.
All
Isn't that
of them
interesting? I don't know. Nothing that they've done has been protocol. Nothing. They've been able to break all kind of rules. They don't have no accountability for anything that is tradition. And I think that that's just completely them being rebellious as always, and there should be consequences to it, period. You know, and if there's no consequences, then what's the point of trying to get him to do the right thing ever? Just let him go out there like a wild monkey and do whatever he wants to do, because you're going to always take him back no matter what he does. So
no, I agree. You know, in a lot of Meghan's sugars, they say, so what do you care? You know, if the queen has agreed to it, she doesn't need to see documents. Basically, what they're saying is because the queen allowed them in the line of succession, we don't have a right to question, because if it's good enough for the queen, then it should be good enough for us. And I'm like, wait a minute, those laws were put there because the royals were screwing up in order to remain in the monarchy. So
they were,
you know, so I'm sorry, I adore the queen, but even the queen is subject to laws and protocols. You know, and the fact, and one of the norms and the way they get out of it is by saying, well, it's not written anywhere. It's just, it was a custom. People, you know, well, yeah, but it's an agreement that is almost law. But the problem is that it's not written anywhere. It was removed. It was written until 1948, the year that Prince Charles was born, and then after that, it was removed, which is a bad thing.
Yeah. They've done a lot of things that I think, well, I'm not going to say that. That's too general, but I don't know. I just wish Harry and Meghan should be accountable, because they're not seniority. I mean, I don't know. I give the queen a pass because she's the queen. I mean, she's got her face on the money. I mean, she's she's special, but Harry and Meghan, they no, especially that American girl. Like, what? Do something with that girl. She gotta start being respectable. She's got to get it together. Like, someone needs to put her in her place.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you from Sinini. She's asking whether you feel that Meghan now still has a lot of support from the Black community.
At this point, I think publicly by celebrities, she does not. I think Americans that don't follow the royals will support her, that they still support her because they don't know any better and they don't care to know any better. This is how she'll get away with a lot, because of the uninformed Americans that see them on like shows like ET and People, and they just like, oh, isn't that so nice what they're doing? But they don't know the seediness of this girl. So yes, they will. But I think the celebrities, the people that know what's going on with her, because they are attuned to her behavior, is underground within the Hollywood community, that she is diva-like, even on some major talk shows. Who was it? David Spade, that he was making comments about her and her attitude about wanting to get back into acting and, you know, leaving being a royal. You know, these are people that are going to know how she is, but they're not going to really call her out, like, especially within the Black community. They're not going to want to look like they're bashing another fellow Black person, even if they don't agree with them, because they want to save face. And because there is this underlining thing about the suppression of Black people already in America, that there's this dialogue that we don't want to put down our fellow African Americans publicly because of how racism already is in the state. So they would never do it publicly, even if they don't really like her. They'll save face because they don't want to get like people coming down on them for tearing on another Black person, because that's what people do to me as a Black woman. Why do you say these things about her? And you know what I say? I say, for me, I don't care. I'm not all about this whole Black thing. Just because you're Black, I have to say nice things about you or don't say anything at all. I think people need to be accountable for their behavior. And it goes very much against the teachings of Dr. King and what he was talked about. You know, it was never supposed to be about your color of your skin. So what Black people are doing when they say that they only want to say positive or uplift and upbuild our fellow sisters and brothers. Look, you can upbuild people all day long, but if you know that they are not behaving right, they are mistreating people, you have a duty to stand up. You should not ignore that. And that's what they're being told to do, to ignore it and don't say anything. And I'm completely against that. So.
Well, I'll tell you something. I find out that it only happens in the United States, though, because, for example, you don't see that in, for example, in Latin America or in people, Latinos. If we see a Latino breaking the law, we call him out. We're very like, no, he's not. He doesn't represent us. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
We distance ourselves to say, hey, his behavior does not represent the Latino community. He's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I see that, for example, with the Black community in the U.S., because it's very particular to the U.S., this kind of behavior. It's like
they're very different here. Yeah,
I don't care if it's a killer, if he's murdered 20 women. I don't care if he beats his pregnant wife. I'm still gonna stick up for him instead of saying, "Hey,
that's
wait
right.
a minute. Hey, wait a minute. He is not an example to follow in our community."
Exactly. It's terrible. It's terrible. I just don't understand it. You want to support someone for the sole fact of the color of their skin? Like, that goes against everything that the movement, the civil rights movement, was all about. It just boggles the mind. I don't understand why they do that. And I think it might have something to do with all of the police brutality. There's a lot of people, the outrage against Black people getting shot by cops. And, you know, a lot of times people are not behaving the way they should be behaving. Now, I'm just being very general, but I think you can't make a blanket statement like, don't say nothing bad about someone who's Black. Just
but
because
Marco is not even Black. This woman is whiter than you and me put together.
But in the Black community, what have I told you?
Yeah, you have told me many times. I know you told me.
But that only applies about. Look at the color of my skin. Woman, I know what I'm talking about.
Again, that only applies to the U.S., sweetie. Because you don't see it anywhere else. It's very rare anywhere else, you know.
Well, this is where I spend most of my time now, not like in Europe.
Yeah, no, because the one-drop rule is actually considered to be racist because it really, it's like it nullifies any other ethnicity you may have, which is what Hitler used to do. You know, if you have the one drop, you know, like, and that's where the one-drop rule comes from, the Nazis. That one drop, you're going to the camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so yeah.
I wanted to, but so I gotta tell you, so you think that, okay, publicly, basically what you're saying is that publicly, Meghan Markle has support from the Black community, although privately, nobody's taking for her ass.
The ones that know about it, the celebrities, those that know about, because Oprah, I'm sure, has said some things, you know, when they get together, Oprah may be saying things about Meghan, you know, that she would never say in public. Because she want to save face, and she, you know, she wants to show she's, but you can tell by who you see her with and who you don't see her with to know who's supporting her, right? Like, I don't see any celebrities on the bandwagon trying to support her, except for we have Melissa McCarthy, last year, earlier this year, no, last year for her birthday, right? Megan's birthday in August. So I just think most Black people really don't know what's going on. They're going to support her just because they just ignorant to the ways of what this woman is doing.
I want to ask you. You and I talked about this, but I really want to hear your opinion on this. You know how Meghan said during Oprah interview, or Oprah said you were silenced. You know, and how the royal family were isolated. They took away her passport. She couldn't travel anywhere except by 14 private trips that we know of, on top of the ones that, were work things and stuff like that. But she was limited. I mean, that girl really racked up the air miles. But
Right.
remember, she said that she wasn't allowed to use her voice, right? Yet Spotify signed a contract, so she would make use of her voice. She had to send letters to the Senate, instead of having women having a podcast with women like working mothers or fathers, psychologists saying how important it is to have children. You work with children, having children, in the community. And I have a school. I help with the school and I can tell you that it is really, and this, it's a community. It really takes a community to help everybody. But she had this huge platform, and she could have had those people, and she should have lobbied there, and then she would have brought senators from both parties, and say, I mean, she could have done something also for COVID. The same for BLM. It was a platform that she was being paid to use her voice.
Right. And she hasn't done it.
She didn't do it because she wants to do it as the Duchess of Sussex, not as Rachel Meghan Markle. And as the Duchess of Sussex, she's very limited in what she can participate. So to me, and I told you this, it was more important for her to remain ranked than to use her voice as her own person, as a feminist, to promote the causes dear to her heart. What do you think about that?
If they were really important to her, she wouldn't care about the title, and she would just do it as Meghan Markle. That shows you she doesn't really care. It's all fluff, and it's just, for her, it's about image. It's about what does she look like doing with that title. Like, she wants to use it to show her importance. That's all. I mean, the message is not really meaningful to her. That should be the most important thing to her, is to do the good that she says she wants to do. But if she's only going to do it if she can have her HRH or to use her, title, whatever, then that shows you right there, this woman is not about really helping anybody. Her helping anyone has to go in line with the image she is trying to sell. And this is, I don't know if you heard recently about why she's been so behind the, curtain, so to speak. We haven't really seen her.
No, why?
Because she's trying to, they're doing the Greta Garbo. I heard this on Neil Sean, where they're trying to be more secluded so that when she does come out, she'll have people analyzing her hair and her fashion, and she can sell that. And so she wants to create more excitement around her for when she actually does come out in public, so that she's making money. Because if she's always out, she's not going to make money. But the less she comes out, the more money she can make. I find that interesting. Why in the world? I mean, that's what it's about. It's not about their charity. I mean, my goodness, I run a charity. I wish I could get out there and do stuff all the time. This woman has so many opportunities to go out.
Can you imagine Spotify is paying you to use the platform?
I'd be on that podcast every day. I'm like, okay, we're going to have somebody talking about this. Like, I'm going to be out doing something every day on that podcast to get the word out about the message that I am passionate about. So if you're not passionate about something like you say you are, then you're not going to do anything. And that's what she's done. She's done nothing. So she has no passion around the message.
She's a phony.
It's very
fast in Spanish. I have a fan of yours here. It says, I think it's Tia Forever Blonde. My beautiful colored true princess PDina. Absolutely love, adore your dignity, grace, kindness, and for uniting us as good humans, not for anything else. Your hair looks amazing. I love it.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
But so because we talked about this, and I was wondering, why didn't she use her voice? I hate it when she talks. I gotta tell you, when she talks, it's like nails on a chalk.
Right, I know.
Awful. I just, but you know, in order for her to pull the Greta Garbo, she has to be as famous as Greta Garbo, and Meghan Markle is not. In fact, she's despised all over Hollywood, from what I heard.
Yeah. People are really catching on to her ways. That is true. But like I said, I don't know why my members know this because I've talked about it behind the scenes. I'll give you guys a little tidbit. I actually know some pretty famous people, and one of them was visiting when I was in Germany, and she worked with Meghan Markle on Suits, and she gave me some information, but she will never despise her, because she's a Black woman and she wants to uplift. So if she know people say, if you have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I told her about all the things. She didn't know a lot of the information that I know about Meghan, and she worked with her. Okay. But she did not care. No matter what I said about the things this woman has done, she did not care. She just was dumbfounded and thought, well, she was nice to me. She was nice to me. And this is how the mindset is within this Tinseltown. You know, she'll have people saying nice things about her, but the people that really know, that are like close to like Oprah, those, I don't know how Oprah's feeling about Meghan these days, but the word is going to slowly get around, but it won't come out in the open. And I'll give you an example. So, you know, like when certain people before the movement with gay rights and things, it was very taboo to be gay in Hollywood. And so there were things about people that were very famous, even like modern day celebrities, things people knew about them, but you never heard about it in the tabloids. It was always an underground type of gossip that never reaches the full surface. Another example is with Bill Cosby. People knew about Bill Cosby drugging women for years. This was no secret, but it never got mainstream and surfaced up to a news item until this comedian talked about it when he was having one of his shows, and then it caught fire. The atmosphere has to be right for that kind of information to really take off. And that's what happened with Bill Cosby, but it was always a known thing. So people are going to know about Meghan. It's going to slowly start to get around Tinseltown, how she is, who she is. You know, don't be caught next to that woman. She's gonna mess up your career. Don't do it. You know, it's going to get around, but people are not going to publicly say anything, but they'll know. And maybe my friend that I know who's in Hollywood that's worked with Meghan will slowly come around to thinking that. But she was defending her full go. It was crazy.
Well, the thing is that when Meghan was in Suits, she was what people, all her sycophants, she had a minor supporting role. She wasn't the star of the show. So she had to be nice to everybody because everybody was above her.
Right,
and people
right.
like Meghan Markle, they're nice to people when they have to be nice.
Right. So that
Not
doesn't
because
make
I'm
her a
nice
good person.
I love you. No, I have to be nice to you because I have no other option.
Right,
You
right.
should judge people not when they're poor and starving, but when they're at the top. And you have to see how they treat people. And from what we know, Meghan Markle was pulling the hell out of everybody.
And it's kind of like when you see people that behave a certain way. Oh yeah, they seem nice when you meet them the first time, or if you're working with them, like what you said on the set. Well, she better be nice to people you working with. Like you ain't gonna have a job. So of course she's gonna be nice if you're working with her. But I'm giving you information about how she treats her sister, her father, like what she's done to the royals. And it did not register to this person that this could be true, or she could even know it's true and not want to acknowledge it as fact because, hey, she was nice to me. I worked with her on set.
Hitler was nice. Are you still there, sweetie?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a phone call, but
No,
I'll have to send an email.
Was nice to people too. I mean, killers and psychopaths and people like that are nice to certain people when they need something from them. You know,
that's right.
Not because they're really look at and you know, and the for me, at least for me, sweetie, is that the way she completely discarded her parents. Well, I don't know where Doria is, but I don't think Doria is very much around anymore. But
I don't think so either.
But look what she did to her father. I mean, if you go and look at the TIG, and you go and look at the at that what's it called, that she was hired, her publicist that managed to get her that speech at the UN. People think that she was hired or she was asked. No, it was her publicist, the one that she discarded later on, the one that got her the gig in Uganda or Rwanda, whatever she went. And suddenly she found herself with that, like, I don't see you anymore. And they were traveling all over the place. She was getting her all these things. So Megan in her speech is I mean, she said that the world needed more men like her father who empowered her.
And now look at how she's treating him.
And not only that, it is my firm belief, and this is just, please people, this is just my opinion, that she set her own father up with that path in order to have an excuse to say, I'm not to pick a fight with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because it's the same path that takes all her pictures.
Yeah, well, I think it definitely, I would say you're right with that, because it just seems like celebrity, this getting into the royal family, all this was so important to her that she would be the one to do that to her father, because this is everything to her, everything, my opinion, right? I mean, it's just how I see it. I can read her. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, when they see her, they can read her a mile away just by her, that plastered smile on her face. You know, it's just like, woman, wipe that smile off your face. But you ain't got nothing to be smiling about all the time. Like, try to be real, try to connect with people. She is someone who will throw you under the bus to get her empowerment from celebrity, from just being in the spotlight. And you know, and the other thing is this: did you hear that her TIG is coming? She's going to be maybe bringing that back.
But that's how desperate they are for money. Because nobody, listen, because you know what? If you are onto the big stage, the TIG is something in the past. This is, you know what I mean? If according to their mentality of insanity, that I call it, because they live on, I don't know what cloud they live, and you know, they should be looking at grander things. Now, just a sidebar, the reason why Netflix is not asking for the millions back is because they never gave them any millions. They signed a contract, and this is one of the people, this is how the press manipulates them and how the PR manipulates them. They did not get a $25 million from Spotify. If they had, Adele would have walked out. Like, they would have had major artists walking out of that platform who do not get that kind of money. You know what I mean? Adele is not getting that kind of money. I mean, it's based on revenue and how many people click on your things and stuff like that, you know? So this is the reason why they're not asking for money back, because they never gave them any.
But they had the opportunity, and
they had the opportunity. Exactly.
Well, her Pearl thing, have you heard anything about her animated series called Pearl?
Well, from what I understood, I heard that the following: it wasn't supposed to be animated, it was supposed to be her. And it was supposed to be like Doctor Who, you know, traveling back in time or whatever, but it was her meeting people, and she thought that she was going to have like Michelle Obama, that everybody was going to be falling at her feet, you know, like Gloria Steinem and Oprah and all those famous women from history. But nobody wants to be associated with us. So she ended up doing it as a cartoon, but nothing has come out of it, because she also wanted the voices of Hillary Clinton, and now she doesn't want to associate to Hillary Clinton because for some reason. But Hillary Clinton, she wanted to have again Michelle Obama, but those people don't want anything to do with her now. What have you heard over there?
Well, I know the Hollywood people that have heard about how she is are not going to want to be seen with her. Definitely, because it's going to affect their careers. Because they saw from when she invited all those people she did not know to hop to her wedding, they knew what she was trying to do. And now she's back in Hollywood trying to get jobs. Like, they're not stupid. Like, yeah, she's and I think that's what comes when you try to be deceptive. I think they've always had that kind of nature about them from the very beginning. saying they wanted to come to the States. Like, you're going to come to California? Of all places, go to Idaho, go to Maine. There's a lot of beautiful places you can go to that aren't celebrity driven. It's not even like she speaks to her family. So why are you even in California? It's not because your family's there. Come to Ohio, where I'm at, where she has her other family, right? This woman is not about family.
Yeah, they have her uncle died, right? The one that used to babysit her.
Right. And she didn't even acknowledge him, JJ. Like, he died, and he really, even her Uncle Mike, the one that was the diplomat, this woman has not even acknowledged anything that these people have done for her. Nothing. And now
she's a true psychopath. I gotta tell you, the way you did, because I mean, and I think this is what puts people off about her, because whatever you may say about people, you still have some sort of family,
Yeah, somebody.
I mean, you may fight with your family. God knows I fight with my cousins, my uncles. I mean, if you hear a Latino party, and I think probably our viewers would know what that means. People would think we're killing each other. It's just our way, But I mean, when we get married, especially in your marriage, I mean, when I got married, I had to be ruthless, because I remember I could only invite 150 people on my side, right? And I mean, Latino family is large, and I mean, you find cousins that you didn't know existed, but you have to invite them because they're family.
Right.
At least from Latino culture, and I think if there's any Latinos out there, they know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with their culture, right? You invite your family for your wedding.
Well, let me tell you this, Paula. Is right. There's always that one person in your family, right? There's always that one person. Now I'm gonna tell you guys who my one person is in my family, but I love him to death. But he is the one person in my family who I'm always having issues with. And you'll see, he was the very first video that I put on my channel. And if you guys watch that video, the song he made is called Baby Mama Drama. Oh. My uncle, okay? He is that one person in my family, okay? He has done that. And then I put him on my YouTube, thinking I never started a YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, he begged me to put it on YouTube, and I did it. So he's that one person. But I'm thinking, you always have that one person in your family that does you like wrong, right? Somebody that you have issues with, but it's never the whole family. But with Megan, she only have that one person she talked to, and she don't even talk to the rest of her family. Like, it's completely flipped. It's backwards, right? But I think not even her mother is going to be around much longer, or she's probably already gone.
Did you see? There's two things. I actually saw that. We follow the body language guy, right? Mm-hmm. And he posted something really funny on Instagram today with Meghan at the balcony, and Harry's talking to Prince Charles, right? But how quickly her smile disappears. I mean, Prince Charles, did you see that? It's actually quite freaky.
I've seen other videos with that.
Harry's talking to Prince Charles, and Meghan's a little bit in the back there, and it's like Meghan's like, but it's that phony smile. It's really terrifying,
Right. I saw something similar.
And who was her mother, for her wedding? Remember, her mother came over, and the mother, they took her. Meghan was giving the speech, and then they were talking later, and the mother dared say something. How Meghan turned around and looked at her. It's like,
oh, I saw that. Yankee Wally, I remember, posted that. She did a video of me. She looked like, man, you're talking about just turning like with Satan, the devil coming upon that girl. I mean, she was just like,
like remove him. It's so
I know.
But this is why I think she's not successful, because people are put off by somebody who can discard her own family. I mean, Samantha Markle is a very smart woman with like a doctorate and whatever. She is another thing. It's terrible. You read the emails that were leaked or were presented in court during the press. How she was trying to trash her own sister.
I know.
had 3 children from different men, and she quit high school, but then she doesn't, but you know, it's like really nasty. Yes, maybe, and the reason why she quit high school was because she was diagnosed with MS and she was having a hard time. But then she finished high school and went to university and got a degree, and then she got a master's or a PhD. But she only said in that email, oh, she quit school. So she wanted to present her sister as an uneducated slut.
Yeah, she did. And what does that say to you about the kind of person that she really is? Like, when these things came to light, I'm sure a lot of people in Hollywood knew about what happened, heard about it, and think, yeah, it's a confirmation of who this woman really is. And this is the problem that this will lead to. When people that are high profile say nothing, they keep it underground about her behavior, then the people that don't really follow it, they'll never know. So she'll still have supporters because you don't have anyone coming out against her bad behavior publicly that other people may listen to and can learn from and follow in their lead, that this is not a nice person. And this is why a lot of people that are Americans will fall for her being, especially Black women, will fall for her being a good person because they're not following the royal family. I mean, they don't have nothing to do with royalty. Like, this stuff is so foreign to them that what they see here is what they'll see when she comes out. And that's all they'll see. And then she'll have people supporting her because they don't really understand the depths of this woman. You know, that's why when you find an American, if you know they don't follow the royal family, you tell them about PDina. I mean, look, you better watch this girl's YouTube channel. Better watch Miss Paula M, and get educated on who this woman really is. Because unless you really hear it from people that can give you like that aha in your head, like really get you to understand what is going on, you will not see it within the entertainment industry, on the entertainment shows and news here in the States. Because like people like Lady C, I was just talking about him, the guy Neil Sean, yeah, they're not really in the YouTube cycle of the Americans because the Americans are watching the UK shows. So they're not popping up. They're not going to get those kind of shows on their YouTube feeds because they're not following royalty, and they're not going to see it on the news shows here. So how else are they going to know? They don't know who Neil Sean is. They don't know who Lady C is to look her up and to watch. You know, so it's like they won't ever come across it to know. That's why they will stay in ignorance.
Yeah, but even I gotta tell you, even the Black community, even they're very close to their families. Family is very important to Black people. I know.
Oh, yeah.
So for them to not find odd that Meghan Markle discards her entire family, Black and white, not only the Markles.
Right.
Because people, I understand the Black community saying, "Oh, well, Mr. Markle was nasty to her," which is true.
You know what they say?
On the other side.
Well, this is what they've said to me about, well, look at what her father did to her. Look at her sister.
Treat her like a princess. Give her the best that she's got.
Right. You know? They don't see that. They,
of course.
Yeah, they don't see that. They see that he's been so bad to her by coming on and speaking on the news. And look what the sister did. She wrote a book. Like they'll dredge up that nonsense, right?
But what do they say about the Black family not being close to the Black family? What do they say about that?
They say, well, they don't really know the Black family. They just know the mother. Like no one knows about her because it's not in the news really. There was one special on Inside Edition, I believe, about her Black family, but they don't really know who her family is because they don't see them, because they don't come out, but they do see the white family, and they don't like how it's perceived that the white family has used her image to make money. They go out and speak in news media, but they don't know the truth. They look at it as being bad, you know.
But doesn't the fact that they don't know anything about the Black family should be a red flag, because she's not proud of her Black family. This is the point for her to parade her heritage. Hey, my uncle JJ died. I'm going to go to the funeral. If I'm going to bring the Netflix camera so they can show my reality show.
Right.
That I'm mourning my JJ and talk about the good old days, how he used to babysit for me when, you know.
Right.
Why is it not? Because when she went to Malta looking for her roots, it wasn't the black roots she was looking for. You know what I mean? It was the white people.
The white roots. Yeah, of course, she's going to ignore the black roots because she doesn't want to really be associated or too close to her black roots. And her black family is the one that really, really cared for her. They really did. I mean, they had stories about her upbringing. I mean, that's just how families are like that. I know the kind of family that she's come from. I've seen the relatives. They remind me of my relatives. These are caring, strong black women. Like, why would you not want to be associated with that? I think she doesn't want to be too close to her black image, to be quite honest. She always wants to associate white. I do. I
think she resents being part black. That's my opinion.
I think so. She never wears her hair the way it's natural.
Can you imagine if that woman wore her afro?
I know. I think it would be beautiful.
Harry, who's a racist, would run the other way, you know?
Right, because he ain't gonna get no real black sister girl. Hey, look, it's like, Harry, you want to marry a black woman, you marry a black woman that look black, okay? I bet she ain't got no hair like this. She ain't wearing her hair in braids. Like, we gonna keep it real. It's like, we're not gonna really be talking about you marrying a black woman and keeping it real, but she don't even look black. Like, but you don't even need to say you married to a black woman. She don't look black.
But can you imagine if she suddenly woke up one day, Harry woke up and, you know, her weave is gone and everything. I think Harry would get out of that bed so fast. Right. You know how racist he is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, what have you done to your hair? You better go straighten that hair. Take those braids out. We don't want you looking too black now, do we? We don't want you looking too black.
You know, I was gonna ask you because you saw that he was with Serena Williams and this other white dude. I mean,
oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I have to have this from you. Serena Williams, who was raised in the ghetto, they were poor, from what I understand. They were really, really poor.
Yeah, they lived in Compton. Yep.
They stole from everything.
Yep.
Thanks to her father and her family. So I assume that family is very important to her and that she has a very good support group, right?
Yeah, right.
This woman made her millions through support from her family and also her talent, whatever, right?
Right.
So now we have this, because she used to be a world-class athlete in tennis. So this woman goes on a worldwide platform and says that her life coach
right
is a white, ignorant, racist man who couldn't even finish the school, Eden School, and the only reason he passed is because it is now known, and you know this is not even up for debate. Their teachers cheated to give him the grade for him to pass. So this athlete, this black woman, the answer to her prayers is this white entitled man who has never had to work a day in his life.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think that's appalling to me. It's an insult to Serena's her character, her own upbringing, all the struggles she's gone through. It's an insult to herself. How dare you say that this is someone who is like a life coach for you? Like, this man you can run circles around him with what you've learned in life. So I think she's slowly trying to just diminish. She's trying to what's the word? She's trying to make herself smaller to embolden and make bigger Harry. You know, Whitney Houston did that with her husband, Bobby Brown. She had this big career, but she never wanted to take the credit for herself because she knew her husband suffered from being in her shadow. So she always wanted to uplift and upbuild her husband. And I think that's what Serena was doing when she did that. She's trying to help him by saying, oh, I'm not much, but I need you to really help me. And you have helped me. And I think she should not do that because that cannot be true. Even for the sake of her trying to show support for this man and everything that he's trying to do with Better Up. you know, you don't the word is failing me.
She's making herself small to make him look big.
You're right, but there's a word for that.
Denigrate? Denigrate? Belittle?
I think close to belittle. Yeah, herself in order to empower him. I think it just is insulting. You're a strong Black woman, Serena. Don't do that. Don't. I mean, I think she should have never said that. I'm really sad that she would even think that, to be honest. You know, it's like, no, woman, he should be learning things about hard work, like what you've gone through. He needs to be learning what struggle and sacrifice is. Oh my goodness. Oh, I am so sorry, Paula, but my phone is starting to ring. It's time for my next meeting.
But thank you for joining me, sweetie. Thank you for joining me, sweetie. And I hope people like our live.
Yes, please
and
like.
we'll have some more, because I wanted to talk to you about the Oscars. You know, do you think she'll go to the Oscar before we go?
Oh, heck yeah, she's going. And guess what? I won't divulge that, but yes, she will. She will show up at the Oscars, I'm sure.
I wonder how many surgeries she's having right now to appear there.
She's getting ready, I'm sure.
Thank you for joining me. It was so much fun. We should do it another time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so